start the recording. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining
Okay.
us.
Mhm.
Thought maybe today we could talk about allergies, seasonal allergies, since that's
Sounds good. It's
coming
coming
up.
up. Not around here though. It's too darn cold.
Yeah, got another month.
Holy
Uh-huh.
cow.
Yeah, Pocatello, Idaho, it could be three
I
months.
took right. I took the dogs for a big walk Sunday morning, and the wind was blowing, and I thought I had ear coverings with me, but I didn't. Anyway, it was so windy it threw my equilibrium off.
Oh wow.
I know, it was crazy.
We get some wind on our hail, don't we?
Oh boy.
Yeah, we gotta get used to wind around here for sure, but so.
I saw a funny meme a couple days ago. It was Kermit the Frog, Sherry, and it says, "If it's cold one more day, I'm getting my Christmas tree back out."
We'll just keep it out for a while.
Yeah, I love that. Anyway, seasonal allergies. Do you want to start?
Sure. So yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with seasonal allergies, and typically it's just, well, just take this medication, antihistamine, then you feel tired, and maybe if you're doing nose sprays and things like that, you're getting bloody noses and different things. May or may not be super helpful. So yeah, let's talk about how do we treat seasonal allergies from a holistic and integrated
Oh,
medicine approach, maybe?
cool, but you know me. Can I go back as to why
Sure.
we
Yeah.
have them?
Yeah.
Why some people are lucky and some people are not? Um, so allergies of any sort is the Western medicine tends to think of once again, like autoimmune disease, as an overactive immune system. But it's just the immune system responding to what it feels is an invader. And what happens when you're exposed to a pollen, a seed, a grass, a torrential windstorm, like where Sherry and I live up on top of the hill, in just separate houses, by the way, for other people that are listening. Um, I thought I'd clarify that, girl. I heard myself say it and I was like, well, that could come out. That could be taken really bad. So I'm just going to clarify that right there. But it's the immune system recognizing these things as potentially dangerous. So what happens when pollen hits your nose is your immune system is triggered to release something called IgE. It's an immunoglobulin that then stimulates something called a mast cell, and mast cells degranulate or they blow up literally. If you picture a balloon popping, that's what a mast cell looks like. And the mast cell releases a ton of chemicals, leukotrienes, histamines, prostaglandins, all these things to set up a chemical environment that hopefully gets rid of the potential or assumed threat, right?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, those leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and histamines cause horrible symptoms in people: tissue swelling, eyes running, sneezing, coughing, vaso or uh, bronchoconstriction. Good
Yeah.
grief, it can come with bronchoconstriction. All these horrible things that is due to the immune system's response to a perceived threat, not the allergen itself. And that's why a lot of the alternative literature, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, really focuses on, can we stop these? Can we prevent these? Versus what our current intervention is, as Wiley said earlier, and that's give you a nasal spray, steroids, give you antihistamines, give you all these things that are just suppressing the chemicals that the immune system is going to keep making if you keep getting exposed to this presumed threat, or pollen in this case. And so why don't we cover some of that's just the pathophysiology, or how or why that's happening. Why it occurs in some versus others really hasn't been delineated, but what we do know is those that are sensitive to it have this not overreactive but very sensitive immune system that perceives pollens, grasses, weeds, all these things, cats, dogs, horses, as foreign, whereas others don't.
Yeah. Good.
So why don't we start with some of the common treatments
Yeah.
of it? Do you want to start?
Uh,
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no problem. So the mainstay treatment for allergies is antihistamines. And histamines are an amazing chemical. It's actually one of the primary neurochemicals in your brain. It's the histaminergic release in your brain is what awakens you. Matter of fact, in the morning, if you take some cold water and throw it in your face, that's a histamine release in your brain that wakes you up. It goes up the ascending spinal tract. And that was totally useless information, but it does.
Yeah.
That's what wakes you up. That's histamine. So histamine is an activating hormone in your brain. If you take an antihistamine, you potentially get very tired because that histamine is keeping you awake. So I tend to avoid histamines that cross the blood-brain barrier. Those would be your old histamines, such as Benadryl, Atarax, even Zyrtec, which is advertised as a non-sedating. It's a sedating, it crosses the brain. But histamines are probably, out of those chemicals I just shared, leukotrienes, prostaglandins, histamines. Histamines are probably the ones that cause the most havoc in our tissues. And so by taking an antihistamine, we stop that chemical reaction and we get some relief. Next in line would be steroids. Steroids are corticosteroids, not anabolic steroids, like testosterone is an anabolic steroid. Corticosteroids are like cortisone, cortisol. Those stop all the chemicals released by the immune system. So they stop the prostaglandins, the histamines, the leukotrienes, they stop them all. And that can be of great benefit for your allergies, but it's not a good long-term solution. Even the nasal sprays that we use, we assume are local. They still have some systemic effects in people, even to the point where they're used enough, they can weaken bones, just like taking oral prednisone. There's specific inhibitors of those chemicals. My personal favorite one's called Singulair. It's a leukotriene inhibitor that works very well. I like it better because it doesn't have any of the antihistamininergic effects. And it's also FDA approved for treatment of asthma. So that's one I like, the leukotriene inhibitor Singulair. Those are your common Western treatments for seasonal allergies. How much do you want me to go into alternative voodoo medicine?
I think maybe coming from like a holistic approach, like if you're in a program with us, what sort of things, I mean, obviously we want to try to optimize our health. Is there a way to minimize our immune system sensitivity to pollen or allergens, whatever it perceives like?
Actually, there is. I wholeheartedly believe in homeopathy. Homeopathy is the study of small particles. So there's something in science, chemistry called Avogadro's number, and it's the smallest division of a particle you can get to. If we were to take a pollen and break it down to the smallest components like homeopathy does, and then give that to you, what we're doing is retraining the immune system
To say this isn't
a
leave
bad
it
guy.
alone.
I'm recognizing this, I'm seeing this. It's not a high enough dosing to cause the allergy, which we do similar with allergy shots. So it's basically the same idea as allergy shots, but allergy shots you have to be real careful with. You got to do them for a long period of time. And I've just been very impressed with some of the homeopathic literature and protocols on how quickly our body starts recognizing these pollens as not bad guys anymore. So I'm a big fan of it. And then to your point, just the entire overall health of your body optimizes your immune health, your gut health's involved, all these things. Will you still be sensitive to pollens and grasses? Of course, because your body has recognized that as foreign. But if you're overall healthy, I don't think you have as bad of reaction to them, if you will.
All right.
So yes, doing a full lifestyle program probably will not remove your allergies unless we specifically go at it, but it will definitely make them better.
So you're saying homeopathy, so you're whatever you're allergic to, you're taking the very the small, very, very small part of that, exposure to that, and then taking it as a pill, cream.
It can be delivered in any way. Most homeopathic remedies are in drops.
Okay.
They'll say 1 times 10 to the third or 10 to the fifth, or based on the breakdown of the product. And there's different protocols out there for different allergens. Pretty substantial science behind this stuff. This homeopathy's been around since the early 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new. This is not new stuff. It's really cool. But most of them come in dropper forms.
Is that so? Like with honey, people say go get some local honey because the bees pollinate the local flowers.
Exactly. What a great example.
So that would be a form of
That's a form of homeopathy. Yep. There's just enough in there to make the immune system go, I'm seeing this all the time now. I probably can leave it alone.
Let's stop reacting to it.
Yeah.
And the allergy shots you're talking about in Western medicine,
Yeah.
that's the weekly or monthly injections of some sort of allergen.
Yeah, the actual
formulation.
Antigen, the actual allergen that causes allergies. That's why you have to do it in a doctor's office.
Right.
In case you're
Your
going to
throat
shock.
swells up, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And that takes years
That can take
to
years.
do, but if you have severe allergies.
It's better than taking steroids or
Yeah.
any even sort of antihistamine all the time.
Right.
I think there's great benefit to it. I have a number of patients that have been through those allergy shots and they're very thankful for it. So I think it's a good thing, but people don't realize there's other things.
Yeah, yeah. If your allergies aren't like super severe, but just bothersome.
Yeah.
Then, so what would you recommend for homeopathy? Like, are there things that we can buy
Oh, yeah.
online, or how? Like,
Absolutely.
How do you make your?
I am not an expert in homeopathy. I know just enough to be dangerous. So I'm not comfortable giving names. I have a few in the back of my head, but why don't, if anybody's listening wants to know, shoot Lisa, my amazing, wonderful nurse, an email. And I can get those for you.
Okay.
And they're very widely published and stuff. Just type in homeopathic remedy for seasonal allergies. Boom, you're going to get hit. And if you do it under Google Scholar, you're going to get some good peer-reviewed articles too, not just some people are selling.
Evidence-based.
More evidence-based stuff, which they're out there. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah. Okay. So there are places where you can get these tinctures of
homeopathic remedies.
But local, you need to do it locally.
Yeah, you can get, exactly. When you have local allergens, you want local people doing it. There's a couple little shops in Pocatello, for example, that do it, and there's, I cannot think of her name. She's by DI. She has a little nutrition shop there, and I'm almost certain she does homeopathy.
Bridget?
What was
It's
it?
Bridget. Bridget.
Bridget?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a great resource. She is a riot to talk to too.
Yeah.
Right, Sherry?
Yes, she is. Man, she's smart.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
Awesome. So she'd be able to you could go there and talk to her, and she'd be able to give you the dosing and
how to do it, which ones are best for our area. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Very seasonal allergies are very climate dependent, time of year dependent.
Right.
And so she may have one for spring and it's a different one for fall.
Right.
Yeah. Really cool stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was that, Sherry?
Oh, the squirrels were out, so James had to put the dogs outside.
Squirrel.
The squirrels were having a party in the backyard, so the dogs decided to break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
All right, we do have a question here from Lou. Do people that live with pets, cats or dogs, have greater risk of having low-level allergies? And are catalog shots a good idea?
Oh, a couple good questions. So the first question, I would say no. I think you're either luck of the draw, got them, or don't.
So having a pet doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna develop.
No, I cannot see any mechanism for that to occur. Because if it doesn't occur right away, your body doesn't recognize it as foreign and probably never will. Unless there's some sort of exposure or your overall immune health deplenishes or decreases. And your overall well-being changes, then I could see potential where now all of a sudden you're allergic, you develop allergies to something, but it's not because of the allergen, it's because of the immune system's changed from underlying health. So that I could see, but I can't see a direct correlation with I have a dog and now a year later I'm allergic to this dog. It must be the dog's fault.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is there a correlation with mom's allergies, like epigenetic kind of thing, like or passed on allergies through the breast milk or?
Yes.
Whatever.
If you think about it, mom's immune system is kind of the sergeant for your immune system. And so if your sergeant immune system tells your immune system that cat dander is bad, it's very likely that cat dander is bad for you.
Okay.
So yes, there is I wouldn't call it a genetic thing because it's not necessarily a genomic passing. It's mom's T cells are governing or teaching my T cells,
Right.
and I might be predisposed.
It was passed on from mom, but not necessarily dad.
No, I don't think it's not sexually recessive or dominant. I think it's I see what you're saying. Right, because dad didn't
genetic, it was
right, dad didn't give his immune system, mom did.
Right.
Because you grew up in mom's belly. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I misunderstood there.
No. How about Kenalog shot? Is a Kenalog shot a good idea?
Oh, so Kenalog is a form of corticosteroid. Triamcinolone is the drug name. And it's very, very popular treatment to go in and get 40 milligrams of triamcinolone, pardon me, injected in your backside right before allergy seasons. It does work.
Mm-hmm.
It really does work. Having done it myself, I'm unfortunately deathly allergic to horses. And my daughter growing up loved riding horses. So when we go up and do a day ride with a little group out of West Yellowstone or something, I had a Kenalog shot the week before because I knew I was going to be around horses, and it worked great. So they work, but what it's doing is basically just suppressing that chemical release from that we talked about earlier, and it lasts about 120 days, 90 to 120 days. The problem is it does have potential side effects. The side effects, the most worrisome one that's listed in the PDR or physician desk reference is avascular necrosis of a hip. Actually more common than once thought. So by getting this shot, you lose blood supply to your hip and you have to have a hip replacement. That's probably the worst one out there. Minor ones are sensitivity reactions, steroid psychosis, where you get a little on the first couple of weeks of the steroid, lipoatrophy or lipolakes, where you lose the steroid actually dissolves fat in the area of the shot, so you're left with kind of a divot. I've seen many of those. Those are pretty common. So overall, I think they're fine. If they work for you, go for it. Just realize that there are some potential risks.
Yeah, how common is the avascular necrosis?
I think it's 1 in 10,000, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
It's rare, but I've seen posts. I didn't see it actually happen. I had a patient once who had it after a Kenalog shot. So it's more frequent enough for me to see it.
Yeah, definitely something.
We need to tell our patients about that if we're going to give them a shot.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, great question, Lou.
Good. Any other questions for us?
That's good. I think that's a pretty good review of allergies, seasonal allergies.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that might be applicable.
We'll try some homeopathy stuff. I guess the best way to figure out what you're allergic to, I mean, obviously because there's all kinds of different pollen in the air, I guess the homeopathy would take a little bit of everything from this area, or
no, they really go by time of year, season, how cold it is, when the frost leaves. All these things change, growing periods and stuff, and I think that's the way they approach it. Is go more based. Okay, we're at this latitude, this time of year. It's still below 32 degrees Fahrenheit at night, so everything's frozen still. So these are the likely culprits.
And it's a mixture. It's not like, oh, this is dandelion, this is
juniper, they usually have a mixture.
Like it's a combination of things. It's
Yeah.
not. But then you don't have to try to figure out exactly
Right.
specifically, unless you go in and do an allergy test with the allergy.
Yeah, we didn't
specialist.
really talk about allergy testing, RAS testing, skin testing, allergies. There's a lot of options out there, but in my opinion, if it comes June and you start sneezing, or my favorite is come harvest in September, you start sneezing, well, you know what you're allergic to.
Yeah, right, yeah, good, all right. Any questions for us? Any more questions?
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, y'all.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, have a good day.